At 21 years after my father threw me out of his house, I returned for my nephew's wedding. Before I even reached the ballroom, I discovered that someone had erased my name from the guest list. My brother looked at my inexpensive dress, smiled in front of 300 guests, and said, "Both know you only came back because you heard about the inheritance." I did not argue with him. I only touched the silver bracelet hidden beneath my sleeve and took the worst seat in the room. By midnight, that bracelet would make the bride salute me. 5 stolen letters would expose the lie that had separated me from my nephew. And the family that once said I would become nothing would watch its carefully planned future collapse in a single evening. My name is Evelyn Carter. I was 40 that night and had spent more than half my life in the United States Navy. But to my family, I was still the 19-year-old girl who had refused to obey. The wedding was at the Beaumont Grand Hotel in Baltimore. White orchids climbed the columns, and a string quartet played beneath crystal chandeliers. At the entrance, a young receptionist searched the digital guest list 3 times. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said. "There is no Evelyn Carter." Behind her, a security guard moved closer to the velvet rope. "I was invited by Owen Carter," I told her. "He is the groom, and I am his aunt." Her polite smile became colder. "Several people have claimed a connection to the family tonight." For a moment, I considered leaving. I had commanded people through storms, yet one missing name made me feel 19 again, watching my father throw my suitcases into a puddle. Then a voice called from inside the ballroom, "Aunt Evelyn." Owen pushed through the doors in his tuxedo. He stopped in front of me with genuine relief on his face. "You came. I promised I would." He turned to the receptionist. "She is my guest." I added her myself. The receptionist looked confused. "But the current list." "I don't care what the current list says." Owen offered me his arm. He did not know my rank or the classified work I had done. He had invited the aunt his family refused to discuss. As we entered, conversations near the door grew quiet. My older brother Nathan stepped into our path. His custom tuxedo was perfect, and his smile carried the same cruelty it had when we were young. "The family mystery has arrived," he said. Owen's arm tightened beneath mine. Nathan looked me up and down. After 21 years, I expected something more dramatic. Reporters, perhaps? I considered a parade, I said. His smile sharpened. "You always mistook sarcasm for character. And you always mistook inheritance for achievement." That was when my father saw me. Richard Carter stood beside the Champagne Tower, still straight-backed at 73. His eyes were as hard as I remembered. He crossed the room, and people moved out of his way. "Evelyn," he said. "Richard." His mouth tightened. "You will address me respectfully. I greeted you by your name." Nathan interrupted before the exchange could grow louder. There was confusion at the entrance. Evelyn was not on the list. My father did not look surprised. Owen noticed. "I added her 3 weeks ago. And tonight is not the time to debate your decisions," Richard said. "It is my wedding. It is a Carter wedding." A woman in a simple white gown joined us and slipped her hand into Owen's. "Actually," she said, "it is our wedding." This was Claire Bennett, Owen's bride. I had known those steady eyes years earlier, during a dangerous naval investigation. Claire looked at me, but she did not recognize me yet. Then her gaze fell to the narrow piece of silver beneath my sleeve. Her expression changed. Before she could speak, the wedding coordinator hurried over and announced that she had found me a seat. She led me past the family tables to table 46 beside the service doors. Beneath my new place number, I could see the faint impression of the original assignment. Table 8. Someone had moved me from the family section. Owen looked furious. "This is not where I seated you. Go back to your bride," I said. "I have sat in worse places." When he left, the coordinator remained beside me, twisting the edge of her tablet. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Who changed the seating chart?" Her eyes moved toward Nathan. I kept my voice calm. "I only want the truth." She showed me the digital record. Owen had added my name 3 weeks earlier. At 9:12 that morning, someone had deleted it and changed my seat. The account belonged to Nathan Carter. I looked across the ballroom. My brother was watching me. He raised his champagne glass and smiled. I had spent years learning the difference between a threat and a distraction. Deleting my name was only a distraction. The real question was why Nathan was so afraid I had come. From table 46, I could see nearly the entire ballroom. I sat with 2 drivers, a photographer's assistant, an accountant, and an elderly cousin named Nora. Nora studied my place card. "Richard's daughter. So I'm told." She laughed, and I liked her immediately. Near the windows, I spotted retired Admiral Helena Mercer speaking with a senator. She had once been my commanding officer and later my colleague. She saw me and started walking in my direction. I touched 2 fingers to my bracelet and gave a small shake of my head. Not yet. She understood and turned away. During dinner, Claire looked toward my table twice. The second time, she stared at my wrist. I pulled my sleeve lower. Nathan arrived during the main course carrying a champagne glass and no plate. Comfortable? He asked. Very. You should know father plans to distribute part of the family trust tonight. There it is. His eyes narrowed. There what is? The reason you erased my name. And Nathan laughed loudly enough to attract attention. You disappear for 21 years and return on the night Owen receives control of the company. Even you must understand how that looks. I came because your son invited me. My son is sentimental. His mother encouraged that weakness. Sarah, Nathan's late wife and Owen's mother, had died 5 years earlier. I learned about her funeral from a newspaper notice. Do not use Sarah to make yourself sound strong, I said. For a second, fear moved across Nathan's face. Our father joined us and began asking about my life, as if he were reviewing an unsuccessful investment. No husband, no. Children, no. Property, less. Anything significant. To me, his gaze dropped to my bracelet. The engraved coordinates were visible now. That looks inexpensive, he said. It was. What do the numbers mean? Before I could answer, Claire spoke from behind him. 30, 4 degrees north, 60, 8 degrees west. The table became silent. Claire's breathing changed. She was staring at the bracelet as if it had opened a locked room in her memory. Where did you get that? She asked. It was given to me by people who survived. Owen looked between us. What happened at those coordinates? Claire whispered one name. Astor Point. 8 years earlier, a Lieutenant Claire Bennett had reported a serious failure at sea. The responsible officer had powerful friends, and Claire was threatened if she refused to withdraw her report. I had led the investigation. The bracelet came from sailors whose lives were saved after we changed the failed procedures. Claire had received one too. But this was her wedding, not my ceremony, so I gave her a small nod that asked for silence. She understood. Nathan did not. As Owen led Claire away for photographs, Nathan grabbed my upper arm. What are you doing? He demanded. Standing beside my chair. You are unsettling her. Tonight is important. Owen will be named Chief Operating Officer, and the Bennett-Carter business agreement will be signed next week. Does Owen know? Nathan said nothing. Does Claire know their marriage is being used as part of a corporate agreement? Do not be dramatic. You erased my name, moved my seat, and accused me of hunting an inheritance. I am not the dramatic person here. His fingers tightened. 2 security men immediately moved toward us. I lifted one finger at my side. Hold, they stopped. Nathan saw the movement, but did not understand it. What are you going to do? He asked. Slap my hand. No. You are going to remove it. Or what? Or the next decision will no longer belong to you. His confidence slipped. He released me. Our father had seen enough to blame me. You arrived in an inexpensive dress with no family and no visible accomplishments, Richard said quietly. Yet you behave as if everyone should step aside. I could have answered with my title or medals. But my value had never depended on those things. I do not need anyone to step aside, I said. I need your son to keep his hands to himself. Then Admiral Mercer appeared behind him. Evelyn, she said warmly. Richard's entire manner changed. Admiral Mercer. I did not know you knew my daughter. Helena glanced at me with amusement. We have worked together. Nathan leaned closer. You worked for the Admiral. At one point, I said. Helena almost laughed. Yes, at one point. She looked at my bracelet. You still wear that old thing. Some reminders earn their weight. Before Richard could ask another question, a man approached us. I recognized Thomas Whitmore, the man my father had ordered me to marry when I was 19. Thomas looked older and deeply uncomfortable. Evelyn, he said, there are things you were never told. Nathan's face lost its color. Not tonight, he snapped. What things? I asked. Before Thomas could answer, the string quartet stopped. A spotlight appeared at the front of the ballroom, and Richard walked onto the stage with a microphone. He looked directly at me. Family, he began, is defined by loyalty and sacrifice. I knew that tone. My father was not about to give a wedding speech. He was about to put me on trial. My father welcomed the Bennett family and called Owen the continuation of the Carter legacy. Then his speech turned toward me. Some people mistake departure for courage, Richard said. They mistake rejection of responsibility for independence. Guests followed his eyes to table 46. Nora leaned toward me. Is he really doing this at his grandson's wedding? He likes an audience, I said. His words carried me back 21 years. I was 19 when Richard ordered me to marry Thomas Whitmore. Carter Holdings was struggling, and the Whitmore family controlled the financing my father needed. At the time, no one told me that part. All Richard said was, "You will marry Thomas." I said no. He threw my bags into the rain and said I would become nothing. My mother cried but did not stop him. Sarah was the only person who followed me outside. Now Richard stood beneath the spotlight, still trying to win the same argument. He lifted his glass. "Tonight I am proud to announce that Owen Carter will become Chief Operating Officer of Carter Holdings next quarter." Applause filled the room. Owen did not smile. "This transition will coincide with an alliance between Carter Holdings and Bennett Maritime, strengthened by this marriage." Claire turned to Owen. "Did you know?" He shook his head. Then Owen stood. "No." Faded. Richard stared at him. "Excuse me. I never accepted that position." Nathan moved toward his son. "Sit down." "No." Claire rose beside him. Richard tried to laugh. "Marriage can make young people emotional. Stop talking about us as if we are not standing here," Owen said. Then he pointed toward me. "Dad deleted Aunt Evelyn from the guest list, moved her away from our table, and tried to keep her outside." Nathan froze as the room turned toward him. "That is a private family issue," he said. "You made it public when you used my wedding to humiliate her." Richard raised the microphone again. "Your aunt abandoned this family. She came because I asked. When I was 6, she told me loud people were not always strong. I spent 24 years learning she was right." My throat tightened. I had forgotten that afternoon. Owen had remembered it all his life. Richard turned to Claire with a patronizing smile. "Please say something kind and restore some dignity to this evening." Claire looked at Owen, then at my father, and finally at the bracelet on my wrist. She stepped onto the stage and accepted the microphone. Then she raised her right hand to her temple. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, "please rise in recognition of Rear Admiral Evelyn Carter, United States Navy." No one moved for half a second. Nathan laughed. "That is enough, Claire." Then Admiral Mercer stood. A retired Marine general rose next. 2 naval officers at the Bennett table followed. Veterans throughout the ballroom pushed back their chairs until almost every guest was standing. Nathan's laughter died. Richard's champagne glass remained frozen near his chest. Owen stared at me. "Aunt Evelyn." I stood and returned Claire's salute. "Please sit," I told the guests. "This is Owen and Claire's wedding." When everyone settled, Claire kept the microphone. "I was a young lieutenant when I met Admiral Carter," she said. "I reported a dangerous failure during a naval operation. The officer responsible had powerful supporters, and I was warned that telling the truth would end my career." She looked at me. "Admiral Carter told me that an institution is not protected by hiding the truth. It is protected by having the courage to face it. Her investigation changed procedures and saved lives. That is why I saluted her." Richard looked stunned, but Nathan recovered first. "A title does not change what happened," he said. "She left us. You threw me out." I answered, "Father gave you a choice." Thomas Whitmore stepped forward. "No," he said. "Richard gave her a transaction." Thomas faced me. "Carter Holdings was near collapse. My father agreed to release emergency financing if our families became legally connected. Your marriage to me was part of the agreement. You knew. I learned shortly before you refused. I was too afraid to tell you." Richard gripped the podium. "Thousands of jobs were at risk, so my life was an acceptable price. I saved the company," Richard said. "You chose control and called it survival." Thomas removed a large envelope from his jacket. "There is more," he said. Nathan went pale. Thomas handed the envelope to Owen. Inside were copies of 5 letters, each marked with a different year. Owen read the first page, then looked at me with shaking eyes. "You wrote back. Every time you wrote to me." He turned toward Nathan. "You told me she stopped answering." Nathan's jaw tightened. "You were a child. I was protecting you. From my own aunt." Richard answered for him. "I ordered the letters withheld." Owen was being raised as a Carter. He did not need divided loyalties. He was a child, I said, not a territory. Owen looked through the letters, and another object fell from the envelope. A copy of the Navy patch I had sent him for his 15th birthday. Then Thomas handed him a small plastic sleeve containing a handwritten note. I recognized Sarah's writing immediately. Owen began reading aloud. "Evelyn, they will tell you that leaving means you failed. It does not. Sometimes the bravest person in a family is the first one who refuses to repeat it." My vision blurred. The note explained that Sarah had hidden money, my documents, and a coat inside my suitcase that night. I had never known who helped me survive my first week alone. Nathan stared at the floor, but Thomas had not finished. He removed one final document and placed it on the table. This was found with the letters, he said. It concerns Evelyn's share of the Carter family trust. Nathan's head snapped upward. At last, I understood why he had tried so hard to keep me outside. The document was a beneficiary report from the Carter family trust. It divided voting rights among direct descendants and required written consent before anyone could surrender a share. Beside my name was a signed statement claiming that I had willingly renounced every right at age 20. The signature looked like mine. It was not. Claire came down from the stage and studied it. She had worked in corporate compliance. Who filed this? She asked. Thomas pointed to the authorization line. Nathan Carter. My brother tried to take the paper, but Owen pulled it away. It is an old administrative form, Nathan said. It has nothing to do with tonight. Claire's voice became very calm. This form transferred Evelyn's voting rights to you. Those rights are part of the succession plan Richard just announced. It has everything to do with tonight. Richard looked at Nathan. For the first time that evening, my father seemed truly uncertain. You told me she signed it, he said. Nathan's face tightened. She disappeared. We could not leave the company frozen because she refused to communicate. I communicated, I said. You intercepted my letters. Thomas opened a folder of return notices and trust statements. Some went to addresses where I had never lived. Others said, delivery refused, while I was stationed overseas, and Nathan had created a paper trail designed to make me look unreachable. Why remove her from the wedding list? Owen asked. Thomas answered. Several trustees are here. The succession papers were to be witnessed after the reception. If Evelyn asked questions, they might discover her waiver was false. The mystery was no longer a family argument. It was suspected fraud, and Nathan looked around the ballroom and realized that the same wealthy guests he had wanted to impress were now witnesses. This is ridiculous, he said. Evelyn never wanted the family. She has no right to return and destroy what we built. I have not destroyed anything, I said. The truth only removed what was already rotten. He turned on Thomas. You had no right to bring those records here. I had an obligation, Thomas replied. Something I should have understood 21 years ago. Richard ordered the music to resume, but no one moved. I did not want Owen's wedding to become a public courtroom. We will continue this privately, I said. Owen looked at the guests. Grandfather made it public. Yes, I replied. We do not have to become like him. We moved into the hotel library. Richard stood behind a heavy desk. Owen and Claire remained together. Nathan stood alone. Claire copied every document and advised the trustees that any succession vote held that night could be challenged. The vote was cancelled. Nathan's plan had failed before dessert. He blamed me immediately. You arrived here with a naval title and turned my son against me. Owen defended me before he knew my rank. You came for the trust. I did not know I still had a share. Then give it up. There it was again. The family's favorite idea. If I wanted peace, I had to surrender something. No, I said. Nathan stared at me. I do not want your position. But I will not sign away my rights to protect you from forging my name. Richard lowered himself into a chair. What do you want from us, Evelyn? The truth. An independent audit. Every letter you kept from me. And no one will use Owen and Claire's marriage as a business contract. And Nathan laughed bitterly. You call that justice? It sounds like revenge. I looked at him. Revenge would be using power to make you helpless because I enjoy watching you suffer. Justice is making you answer for what you chose. You taught me the difference. You, Owen, placed my 5 letters on the desk. I will not become chief operating officer, he said. Nathan stepped toward him. You have trained for that role your whole life. I was trained for it. I never chose it. Claire took his hand. We are also withdrawing from the Bennett-Carter agreement. If the companies need our marriage to survive, then they deserve to fail. Richard's shoulders seemed to bend for the first time. You are all destroying the family, he said. No, Owen replied. We are refusing to let cruelty become tradition just because it lasted a long time. Then, Richard reached inside his jacket and removed a sealed envelope. Across the front, Sarah had written for Evelyn, when she finally comes home. My father held it toward me. She gave this to me before she died. Why did you keep it? His voice lost its certainty. Because I did not know whether giving it to you would bring you back, or prove that you no longer needed us. I did not take it. Give it to Owen. Owen accepted the envelope, but he did not open it yet. Richard looked at me. I was wrong to throw you out. I was wrong to hide your letters. It was not enough. But it was true. Will you forgive me? He asked. Not tonight. Forgiveness is not another ceremony you can schedule after dinner. Trust will depend on what you do when there is no audience. He looked at my uniformless shoulders, as if searching for the daughter he once controlled. You proved me wrong, he whispered. You mean I became important? He said nothing. That is not the same as understanding my worth. I told him. I had value when I was 19, soaked by rain, with 2 broken suitcases, before the uniform, before the medals, before anyone saluted, no one spoke. Your greatest failure was not that you could not predict what I would become. It was believing I had to become extraordinary before I deserved dignity. From the ballroom, the quartet slowly began playing again. I turned toward Owen and Claire. This is still your wedding, I said. Let us take it back. When we returned to the ballroom, I asked for the microphone my father had used against me. I raised a glass to Owen and Claire. May you never confuse obedience with loyalty. May you choose each other freely, and may you tell each other the truth, especially when the truth is uncomfortable. Claire lifted her glass. To choice. The guests repeated it, and the word filled the room. Later, the 4 of us stepped onto the hotel terrace. The river below reflected the city lights. Owen placed Sarah's sealed letter on the table between us. Are you ready? He asked. I touched the bracelet at my wrist. Ready. He opened it and read the first line. Evelyn, if you are reading this, someone in this family has finally chosen courage over control. Sarah described the night I left. Richard feared the company would collapse. Nathan feared disappointing him. My mother believed resistance would break the family. Then Sarah wrote, Fear explains many choices, Evelyn. It does not make them right. She admitted that she had planned to leave Nathan. And then she discovered she was pregnant with Owen and stayed because she believed she could protect her child from inside the family. I do not know whether I succeeded, she wrote. Perhaps Evelyn will recognize the answer before I do. Owen read that sentence twice. She did protect me, he said. Yes, I told him. And now you choose what to do with the courage she gave you. The investigation began the following Monday. An auditor found that Nathan had forged my waiver, redirected my distributions to Carter Holdings, and used the funds as collateral. Richard knew my letters were withheld but denied knowing about the forgery. I did not protect either of them. The trustees froze the succession plan. Months later, Nathan settled. He repaid the trust, surrendered his position, and admitted that I had never abandoned my rights. He avoided prison because the funds were recovered, and I did not demand the harshest charge. Some called that mercy. The Nathan did not. Losing the title he had built his identity around felt like the cruelest sentence he could imagine. I did not buy a mansion or take a Carter board seat. I created the Sarah Carter Freedom Fund, providing housing, legal help, and education grants to young adults rejected by controlling families. Nathan hated the name. That was the only part of my revenge I allowed myself to enjoy. I did not destroy the Carter legacy. I took the money they had hidden from me and used it to help other people escape the kind of night I had survived. Owen rejected the chief operating officer position. He and Claire moved to Virginia, where she returned to public service law, and he joined a maritime technology company. The Bennett-Carter alliance never happened. Both companies survived. That fact wounded Richard's pride more than any courtroom decision. It proved that no arranged marriage had ever been necessary. Thomas Whitmore resigned from the Carter board and helped the auditors understand the old records. He and I exchanged 2 honest letters. Neither of us confused regret with romance. The Nathan sent angry messages for months. Then came silence. Nearly a year later, a small package arrived at my office. Inside was the original Navy patch I had sent Owen for his 15th birthday. The Nathan had kept it locked in a drawer. His note contained 4 words. I should have given this. It was not an apology, but it was the first truth he had offered without being forced. Richard called me 3 times before I answered. Our first conversation lasted 4 minutes. The second lasted 11. During the third, he asked about my work without questioning whether it was important. We did not become close. Some distances exist for good reasons. But we became honest, and honesty was a shoreline where something new could possibly be built. 2 years later, I retired from the Navy. The Owen and Claire sat in the front row of my final ceremony with their infant daughter. They named her Sarah Evelyn Carter. When Owen told me, I had to look toward the harbor until I could control my breathing. After the ceremony, he handed me a small box. Inside was my silver bracelet from Astor Point. You are giving this back? I asked. Turn it over. A new sentence had been engraved beneath the coordinates. Home is not a name, it is a choice. At 19, I thought survival meant never needing anyone who had rejected me. I was wrong. Survival was only the beginning. The harder work was learning that independence did not require isolation. Boundaries could have gates. Forgiveness and reconciliation were not the same thing. Strength was not measured by how little pain reached me, but by what I chose to do with that pain. For years, I believed my greatest victory would be proving my father wrong when he said I would become nothing. But rank was not my revenge. Money was not my revenge. Watching Nathan lose his position was not even my revenge. My victory was becoming the person that the frightened 19-year-old girl could have trusted. The person who would have picked up her broken suitcase, looked into her eyes, and told her the truth no family had the right to erase. You do not have to earn the right to own your life. You already do. That is how one erased name uncovered 21 years of control, stolen letters, a forged inheritance document, and a marriage being used as a business deal. I returned to the wedding expecting only a difficult reunion. Instead, Owen defended me before he knew my rank. Claire recognized the bracelet that connected us through Astor Point. The Thomas finally revealed why my father had tried to force me into marriage. Sarah's hidden note proved that kindness had survived inside the family, even when courage had been silent. And Nathan's attempt to keep me away exposed the very fraud he wanted to hide. The greatest lesson I learned was that loyalty without freedom is not loyalty. It is control. Fear may explain why people hurt us, but it does not excuse what they do. Forgiveness does not require us to forget, and reconciliation should never be offered without honesty, responsibility, and change. We can set strong boundaries without closing our hearts forever. Most importantly, our value does not begin when other people finally recognize our success. We deserve dignity before the title, before the money, before the applause, and before anyone asks us to prove who we are. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is not destroying the people who tried to break us. It is building a life they can no longer control and using our freedom to open a door for someone else. Thank you for watching this story until the end. If it moved you, please tell me in the comments. Would you have forgiven Richard? And what would you have done about Nathan? Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more emotional stories about family betrayal, hidden truth, justice, and second chances. And always remember, home is not the place where your name is written on a guest list. Home is where your right to choose is respected.